24, Driving Business.
Yes, we'll be back from the break. It's 28 minutes to the top of the hour. Definitely, we're heading into the last, of course, section of the show. And, of course, with the discussion in relation to borrowers and clients, lenders rather, people that loan money and the clients, can they really survive in harmony? But, of course, before we proceed with that discussion, I would still love to remind you that the Markets on the Zabo platform are on, and be a part of them. Start tonight to hash. Simply the USSD code for you there to avail with options where you'll be in position to actually be a part of them. And here, surprisingly, you can buy bonds at just 15,000 Ugandan shillings, government bond securities, company stocks at that price. Now, the markets opened at exactly 8:15, and they'll be running all the way to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time. This is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when those markets cannot be accessed. But of course, despite that, you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make money, something which I believe is quite key and instrumental when it comes to your financial welfare as an individual, definitely in all those perspectives. That's why Zabo comes out and says, well, my money, my future, and Altex East Africa is here to tell you that you need to do something new for yourself. All right. Now, of course, heading back into our discussion in relation, that is to the lenders and the clients. Of course, we know countries that really have rejected foreign aid. We had our social media trends today, and we saw something from Eritrea, and a country which has registered, which has refused actually to get these loans because it's well familiar with the terms with which they come with. So today we're here to address this, and we see what is the way forward out for Uganda. But of course, now I'm going to be joined again with Xavier, as of course we break down this matter. Xavier, as we proceed here, I wanted us to look into the matters of, I mean, we've seen the Western powers that are coming into, of course, they are picking some interest on the African continent. China, Russia, you know, and so many more. Iran is also part of them. North Korea is one of them. Literally, you see the Eastern Bloc, India. So, can't we really leverage on these nations for loan donations, you know, donations or any kind of loans? I want to understand what's the difference between the loans we get from these nations vis-a-vis the World Bank. Can't we survive with these loans for these other powers like India, China, and Russia?
We can survive, but it came not at the right time. We still needed them in place, but the strings that are attached are so much destructive than what they offer to us. So the question is, can't we survive without them? Yes, of course, 90% we can survive. I want to tell you, when you had COVID-19 in 2020, throughout up to 2022, money they borrowed to us and whatever they gave us as a grant, none of it, I can say only like 2 or 3% entered into Ugandans. The rest was swallowed. You have never seen the accountability of it. So did we not survive? Actually, the economy grew because crop production was so high and we had excess of food to export outside Uganda. So it's high time we start regulating these loans. One of the biggest problems we have is a bank, a central bank that has not been advising the executive, I can say the cabinet, because the work of the central bank is to make sure we have a currency, Number 2 is to make sure we have credit and a supply. Number 3, the central bank must make sure that they set a borrowing rate and they should put up a cash reserve as well to open market operations for Ugandans everywhere in the world. Even if you are outside Uganda, your currency should be able to support you everywhere. Then the exchange control has been the poorest ever since Uganda has been existing. For the last 40 years, exchanging control has been a problem. Take an example, take a look. In 2009, a dollar was buying less than 2,000 Ugandan shillings. By then, 2,000 Ugandan shillings was enough money to buy a beautiful shirt. Right now, even $5 you can buy a good shirt. You must go to $15 and $20 and above to get a good shirt that you can type on yourself. Meaning that the economy is shrinking, not because people are not working, not because we don't have resources, but we don't have planners. The fish is floating from the top. So it's the governing body, the planners, who are not planning. Actually, they plan without applying the common sense. So at school, we used to be taught that common sense is not common. Indeed, it's not common. It's high time the government should style up. I'm a citizen talking on behalf of other citizens. We love our government. We love those who are up. You studied your books, accounts, you okay, but put everything into practice and common sense, and then we shall go to where other countries are going. So the conclusion is Uganda can survive. Ugandans can survive without the World Bank, without outside lenders. Actually, the domestic debt that we have, if we paid that one and we again reborrow from our own Ugandans, we can make it. 3, the government should look for another way of moving away from a dollar. I criticize a dollar. The US currency, the UN currency, the World Bank currency. I criticize it as a citizen. If they also want to freeze me not to go into America, I'm ready, because America is not heaven. A dollar should be criticized and leave the market of Africa.
Are on the verge of introducing a currency, but we don't know how sustainable. How sustainable do you think that can be if Uganda really transacted with it?
It is sustainable for a lifetime because this is our land. This is our country. We know what we have and what we don't have. We also know what we need and where to get it from. I want you to tell me, how many exports do we export into America? And how many imports are we importing from the Western powers? How many imports have you seen, apart from mobile phones, computers, and maybe shoes that are coming from London and are all for luxury? The usable phones and the cheaper ones are coming from China. That is Eastern. Almost we are using everything from China. Even if one of the speakers said that this is Chinalization of Africa, is right. We are getting nothing from them apart from shabby grants, and which come up with the strings of accepting whatever they want us to accept. So it's high time we can cross the roads and go to Eastern, as we also strengthen our economy. Why? Easterners are not our brothers. In the long run, they can also behave like how Westerners are behaving. So we can do well with ourselves within Africa. It's now really time of making sure that there is no conflict in Congo, there is no conflict in Sudan, there is no conflict between Uganda and Tanzania, there is no conflict anywhere in Africa. And then Africa becomes a landscape of trademarks whereby each and every country comes in with fellow neighbors.
So does this justify why we need to have a united Africa, and how can it solve that?
Actually, if I was the president of Uganda, which I'm not, so meaning that if it's working today, I would mobilize all the leaders of Africa, like what Gaddafi had done, to make sure Africa can have from one currency, Africa have a strong one trade union, and then we come together. So this is where we are drawing back again. So you think you can avoid hunger, but you cannot go to sleep in your bed to make sure that hunger goes away. Hunger will come back. Even if you have a child and is hungry, you try to criticize. When visitors are around, the child may keep quiet. The second time the child cries, you slap, the child will keep quiet. The third time, the loudness of the child crying will scare neighbors to first solve the problem of hunger. So we are coming back to the drawing board as Africa to make sure we solve this problem of dependence. We have been dependent, so it's time to also become independent so that we don't depend on other continents. We can do the same, because all the people that we have in America, most of them came from Africa. The leaders of technology came from Africa. Israelites who are leading in technology, they came from Africa. At one moment I hear even Jesus grew up in Africa. So why do we suffer? Yet Uganda, we are the part of Africa. We can even depend on River Nile alone to make sure we sell it to every country in Africa.
Would you recommend the fact that we can actually have borrowing within Africa? For example, we have the African Development Bank to come in and fund the different projects within. Would that be a viable perspective? However much we say we don't want to survive on the loans, but borrowing from within Africa, what's your opinion regarding that matter? All right, I think we just lost Xavier from that perspective. But anyway, the point which we've been trying to discuss in there was in relation to, the lending. And we get to realize that how he's been pointing it out there, if we are to compare the loans that are being offered out there to from the Eastern Bloc, that is Russia and China, they seem to have tougher conditions, tougher situations. Recently we had issues with our airport as a result of loans from China. We've not had such a scenario with the World Bank. There is some sort of relief that comes along with that. And that's why our debt is in massive trillions, of Ugandan shillings, which we actually have to pay, which will be paid for generations, for ages, as a result of that. But anyway, that is the situation, how it is like. And it's exactly 15 minutes to the top of the hour. It's a Friday, and at the same time, of course, it's the back to school. The children are being taken back to school. Well, you gotta really go back home and do the right things in terms of developing skills other than just going back home. And for all the people that actually have been doing business and those even pursuing careers, well, it's the time to reflect and make sure that what didn't go right in this week is actually made right, the coming week, because I understand, of course, things may not go like the way you can really anticipate. That is what we had for you for the show this morning, this Friday, as we're heading into the weekend. But still on that notice, I would love to remind you, channel 372 on DSTV and channel 320 on GOTV. And you can also go to the free-to-air decoders, and you can get us there at Smart 24 TV. And also you go to your Google Play Store, you download the Smart 24 TV application. You'll be able to stream Smart 24 TV at any place you will be at. You driving back home, stuck in jam, and so many of that. You can still be streaming Smart 24 TV, and also on our social media handles, that's on Twitter, or lately known as X, at Smart 24 TV. And also Smart 24 TV official, that's on Facebook, and Smart 24 TV live on YouTube. You can be able to stream us at any part of the country, the world that you will be at, as we deliver to you the right business information. That is both local and international business updates. Well, and still on top of that, as you're heading to the weekend, I know the trading probably this week, I don't know how it has gone for you. For those that have been trading, I would still love to remind you that think about the markets on the Zabo platform, which are winding up today. And of course, to participate is simple. Star 292 hash is the code to avail you with options to be a part of this market, to buy bonus securities for just 15,000 Uganda shillings. Of course, these markets you need to go into the weekend knowing that Monday will be a fresh day for them to resume. Well, have yourselves a very wonderful time and enjoy the weekend. We meet on Monday. Good morning.